Hello, this is my playthrough of Discover Lands Unknown. My name's Denise. I'm going to be playing Valley Terrain, Scenario 1. There shouldn't be any spoilers unless you have the dirty work scenario with your Valley Terrain reference, or Valley Terrain. And then there should be some minor spoilers, but you won't spoil most of the adventure. So you start out by choosing a scenario, which I just did, and we have the reference that helps us build the map. Then you assign a tribe leader. I'm playing solo, so obviously I'm the tribe leader. Create the night deck, and that's 10 cards. You have 6 stage 2s. They go on the bottom, so you shuffle those and then set them on the bottom. I already shuffled them. And then you shuffle the stage 1s, which are blue. There's 4 of them. They go on top. That makes your nighttime deck. Then you're going to set up all your decks for exploration. The exploration one, depending on your terrain, you're going to remove certain duplicate cards, which aren't actually duplicates. They're duplicate numbers, but they each have a different ending. So that brings you some replayability to each scenario, because there's like 5 ways it could end, and you don't know which one's in the deck until you come to it. And then you grab it also tells you the monsters that you need and the crafted item cards that you should have, which I think you use all your crafted item cards when you do it, and your whole project deck blue with this one. It doesn't have the advanced one, which I ended up getting the mountain, snow-covered mountain, and the valley terrain. And in the snow-covered mountain there's advanced project cards. And then of course you take the threat deck, the blue one, and you shuffle it and put it off to the side. And we're going to read the scenario. This gives you the chance to turn it off. So it's Scenario 1, Dirty Work. A voice booms from a speaker on the ground. Welcome, contestants. We're all excited that you're here. But let me guess, you want to get home, right? Follow my instructions and you'll be just fine. You may even be a star. You listen closely and hope this stranger is telling the truth. So now, if there's multiple survivors, you have to investigate landmarks until there's a number of landmarks investigated as a number of survivors. So I just need to find one landmark and I can go to stage 2. Okay. So, and then I randomized already the terrain specific tokens for the water source tokens, which are little hexagon, and then these are your feature tokens and your monster tokens. So they're all randomized, ready to go in stacks. And then I have the map that I've already randomized. So after you make all your decks, you're going to build the map. And you build a map based on what it looks like here. So you shuffle each of the numbers together. So there's 2 1s. So I shuffled them together, and then so they're going to go here on the map. And then I have the 2s, which I already shuffled. And then I'll just place those the same way around. That'll give me the map that I'm starting with. I kind of I was messing around with it with the map, so I don't really care if they're all together, because they're really hard to get out. As I explore the map, I will push them together and make them tight since they don't flip back over. And then you take the 3s for this map at least, and I'm gonna have to pull down This is my first video like this, so I'm gonna try to see how I do with it. I'm gonna try to do about 10 minutes at a time, and maybe 15, and that way we can make it easier to upload. Then the 4s go on the ends of this. So the map is built. And I am going to go ahead and I think, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it down. You can see almost the whole map now, because I got plenty of room on my table since I'm the only one playing. Then you take a character dial, you put it on all the green hearts, and since you're solo, you put it on 12 stamina, which is basically your actions each turn. Okay, but you don't get 12 back. The night deck, so you have to kind of plan your resources, your stamina out, so you can do stuff each turn. So we built the map, and then you assign the characters. And when you're playing solo, when you're playing with multiple players, each of you draw 2. You shuffle the character cards. Each one draws 2, and pick one. And keep it secret. When you're playing solo, you pick 4 and keep each one, and then turn it up, because it doesn't have to worry about being secret, right? So I got the 4 to choose from, and I think I'm going to go with Jasmine, and she looks like she's a mountain climber. So she's going to be able to go into the mountains a lot easier. So we put her card there. We put the rest of them back in the box. And then we set up I set the character tracker. And it depends on the number of players how many stamina you get to start with. Then you get 1 food and 1 clean water resource to start the game. And you draw 3 project cards because you're solo. If you're playing with 2 players, you get 2. 3 players or more, you get 1 each. So I can do 3 project cards. That's the stuff you can build. So I'm going to be able to build leather armor, wooden cage, and the bola. Looks like all defensive stuff. And basically, it tells you the resources you need. You do a crafting action, and then you get the numbered card from the crafted item deck, and then this goes face up out here, so you can build more of them if you want down the road. You can only have 10 resource tokens and crafted items. The project cards don't count. And then you place your starting on the campfire, and we're ready for the first turn. Yeah, so we got. So during the turn, you have several actions. You have move, and gather. Move is if you move to an empty space, it's move. If you move to a space with a token, then you can gather with 1 stamina. Or if you're standing in like a water one, you can gather multiple times. You can just do the gather action without moving. Scout. When you're adjacent to another tile in the hex, you can flip it over for 1. Craft, you can spend the resources and 1 stamina. Trade, of course, you can trade with other players if you had other players. Cook, if you're at the fire and you had meat, you can't eat meat unless there's some characters that can do it. You have to cook it first, and then it becomes food for you to use when the night cards tell you to use them. Restart the fire. You can spend a wood if the fire is out. Recover. If you've got any of these damage dials set to a damage, depending on the damage, you can spend one of the resource tokens and put it back on the green heart. Now, if all three of those are on a damage and you get a fourth damage, you're dead. And loot is take a resource from a casualty. If another player gets eliminated, their piece would be laying over, and all their resource tokens are on the space, so you can loot them. So that's about it. So we take the first turn, and then I think I'm going to break and use the oh yeah, we have the compass for moving monsters and placing stuff. Just has numbers on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move. So I'm going to move here. That tells you on the thing how much it costs. Empty spaces is 1, hills are 2 on the valley, and then mountains are 3 on the valley. Except Jasmine can do the mountains for 2 because of the mountain climber thing. So reduce it by 1, and then I'm going to spend another one to explore or scout. It's called it scout. I'm so used to Fallout. Called it. And then if you have matching icons, you pull the resource tokens. You don't look at the backside. You're still hidden. So I have some kind of possible animal, food. They all can have food and stuff. It's just a wood is most likely going to have wood. This is most likely going to have an animal. The food one is most likely going to have food, and the rock is going to most likely have rocks resources. So that was 2. So then I'm going to spend a third one, and then my fourth next move is I'll spend 1, which allows me to move and gather, which means I flip this over, and it's resources, so I get to keep it. The nice thing is it's 2 wood. So it only counts as 1 counter, so 1 of my 10, but if I break it into 2, which I can do 2, I can never put it back, then it counts as 2, but right now it only counts as 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That brings me to 8. So I'm going to go ahead and explore this tile. That's 7, down to 7. And again, this has a landmark on it now. That if you go there, you can investigate, and then you pull the Explorer card based on the number. It has a wood resource, so we take a random wood resource and put it face down. And then I'm going to go ahead and move 2 spaces, and since there's nothing there, I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'll just take 2 down. And then I'll spend another resource to move and gather. I flip it over. Now this is a animal. They don't automatically attack you, but when you gather, you can attack them to try to get resources. So that's 71. So you go in here and you pull 71 out. It's a wandering bear. Okay, wandering bear. It takes a 7 or greater to do damage. It takes 3 damage, and a 10 or greater, and it does damage to me. So I roll the 2 dice because I'm going to go ahead, since I gathered, I get the attack. So I rolled a 1. I rolled a 1. I did no damage. He rolled a 12. So he damaged me. So I had to take one of my dials and set it to damage. And there might be some special cards, but I haven't found anything that heals that. So that's basically gone. Now I'm at 3 and I'm dead. And now, since you only do 1 round of combat unless it says lethal on the card, it doesn't say lethal. So he retreats to another hex, and you look at the red die and you look at here, so he retreats up here to these hills. And that's the end of that action. And then this just stays face up, so we know what it is. It takes 3 to kill him, so you're going to have to chase after him anyway, even because you can only do 1 damage each action. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to explore again to this tile. So that costs 1 stamina. And I got a water source, so I pull one of the water source tokens, which is face down. It might not be water. It might be dirty water, which can cause cause damage to you if you drink it. So I have a rock here, so I pull that down. I still have 3 stamina left, so I'm going to spin another one to move and gather. So I get a rock, which now means I have enough to make a boa. So I'm going to spend an action to craft. And the boa takes the ore, so I put it back in a discard pile, and then I pull 94, and then this goes face up here. If you were playing multiple players, anybody else can build it, and I can build it again. So you pull 94, and 94, it says after rolling the dice in combat, you may discard this card to apply -2 to the enemy die. So it's a way to keep from taking damage. And now since I used a project card, I get to draw another one. So now I've got the pickaxe plan, leather armor, and wooden cage. So I have 1 left, and I'm going to save it for next turn. So now we go into the night phase. We pull a night card, and we do them in order. So hunger. Each survivor either spends 1 food or suffers a starvation damage. Those can be healed, but I have food, so I'm going to go ahead and spend the food. And then the next one is light sleep. Each survivor gains 7 stamina, so I go up by 7, which makes it has 8. And then it's an eventful night. Each survivor not at a fire. Normally when you're not at the fire, you're going to draw an additional, which is the small threat cards. So I'm going to draw, or other bad things can happen. So I draw a threat card. And it said, control room. You trip over a hidden cable and follow it to a hatch in the ground. Below you find a room full of TV screens showing you and your friends. 4 red buttons sit nearby. Oh boy. And of course, my character must have pushed it. So it says spawn 1 monster token in any survivor space. I'm the only survivor, so I have to spawn a monster token. And they spawn face down, so you can't tell what they are, but if they're in your space, they automatically flip face up and they attack. So we have 81, so we pull monster card 81, and we have a survivalist. And he's not lethal, so he'll do 1 attack. I need a 9 or better on the gray. He needs a 6 or better on the red die. So I roll again. He misses me. I hit him. So I put a token. I'm going to put it over here. I put a token. He needs 3 tokens to kill him, and then there's a reward. So since I didn't kill him, there's only 1 round. Since he's not lethal, he will retreat to another space and use the red die. So it's 8. So he goes here. And that's the end of the night phase. And then this goes in the discard pile, which I put on the bottom face up, just so that it doesn't take up as much space. And that is turn 1 of the game. And we will continue in another video. This has been a little bit longer than I thought it would be, but hopefully it helps out a little bit. And if you want to continue, look for part 2. Have a great day.